Big cities. Who wants to live in that mess anymore? The cops try hard, but they're handcuffed. People are rude. It's crowded and expensive, and, well, there's more important things in life than schlepping to work an hour each way and sticking your kids in an overcrowded and failing school system. Or maybe you like it. To each his own. If you live in a big city and you're happy, great. Stay there. LOL emoji. For those of you who are seeking your new adventure in life and want a big change, there are cute, safe, affordable towns all over the country. She likes small towns. He does too. After all, there's a big shift happening right now in America, and these two seem to be way ahead of the curve. In this video, we're going to talk about the best small towns in every single state, people. Now, all of these places are going to be clean and safe and affordable for the most part. I specifically found places that don't have outrageous price tags because we don't want a big price tag in a small town, right? Well, we have a lot of these to go through, so enough of my pretty face. Let's go through the best small towns in every single state where you can move today, people. Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Everyone here knows your name. Maybe that's good or that's bad. Who knows? Aw, this looks like a really neat place. The kind of place where everyone is super kind and respectful. No windows getting smashed here. This is our first stop, Eufaula, Alabama. At nearly 12,000 people, this is one of the biggest towns we're going to visit, but certainly not the most expensive. Just look at the home prices. This little gem is right along the Georgia state line, right along the banks of the Chattahoochee River. It's clean, safe, and very southern charming. You could move here, that is, if you wanted to live in Alabama. You'd be smart to live in College, Alaska. This Fairbanks suburb has a prestigious university in town, along with several museums and hiking trails. It's pretty laid back here. A few drunks in town and a handful of thefts every week. Your biggest threat's moose stomping. In the warmer months, you'd have some homeless people in Fairbanks proper, but what major city doesn't have homeless people in them these days? Sedona is probably the best town in the state, but it's snobby and expensive. Bisbee, located an hour south of Tucson in the Mule Mountains, is not either one of those. It's a former mining town. There's an artsy, historic downtown, and it's a tourist draw, which kind of sucks. Unless you wanted to work in the tourism industry, you'd have to be able to work from home. But hey, that's the new jam, everyone. Look at this cute home, and it could be yours for a steal, people. The northwest part of Arkansas is the best part of Arkansas, by far. Way up in the Ozark Mountains near the Missouri border is teeny tiny Eureka Springs. This is a no stoplight town, named after hot springs which exist here. And just because it's Arkansas doesn't mean it's not progressive. This was the first city in the state to issue gay marriages, people. Yes, there are small towns in California that are worth considering a move to, but you gotta get way off the beaten path. As in middle of Humboldt County, almost to Oregon. Arcata is just 10 minutes from Eureka and along the banks of a beautiful bay along the Pacific Ocean. And it's home to a major university too. Score! For a job, you could harvest weed. Double score! Breckenridge and Crested Butte are off the charts, cool places to live in Colorado, but a more practical decision would be somewhere that's not an overpriced ski town. Just 15 minutes southeast of Denver is Holly Hills, which has enough going on that it's a little mini city itself. The high price tag gets you super schools and a quick walk to the light rail downtown, but it also means young families have to have pretty decent jobs. But hey, it's Denver, there's plenty of jobs. Mystic is your prototypical picturesque small New England seaside town, but it's an actual ancient seaport too. And there's a huge aquarium where you can see all sorts of stuff. Hey guy, you want a fish? No? You want my taco, don't you? Look at those home prices in Newcastle. This is one of the oldest communities in the nation. I don't know if you want old or new, but it's really affordable. Just 6 miles south of the ghetto city of Wilmington, this is a tight coastal community where the neighborhoods are clean and the roads are crummy, but it's Delaware, there aren't any good roads here. Everything's within a short drive, so you wouldn't be driving very far anyways. Here's a place you likely haven't heard of unless you live in the Panhandle. For Florida, the homes in Eureka Springs are really cheap, and there's a Walmart, a Zaxby's, and a Waffle House in town. That's so Florida. This little town has a Victorian charm and a natural lake that's almost a perfect circle. Some say the entertainment here is a little lacking, but you're an hour from the beach. What do you want? An hour north of Atlanta is a little place called Dahlonega. Mom can take the kids to the winery, while Dad gets his buddies out to the haunted Lake Lanier to fish, or onto the Chattahoochee National Forest to get some coon or turkey. Perhaps they all go together to the cute downtown, which has family-friendly shops and restaurants. One person said they moved here from New Jersey, and everyone down here is down to earth and civil. Well, you came from New Jersey, so anyone is going to seem down to earth and civil. Okay, so the home prices are super high here, but look at that view. They filmed the movie South Pacific here for a reason. This is definitely a place to retire, or a town from which you'd work from home. And every day after work, you'd grab a Mai Tai, a plate of sushi, and a shaved ice, and then walk along one of the prettiest stretches of beach in the country, all for a not affordable price of $1,769,234. So there's very few places that are really expensive on this list, and we've got two back to back. Ketchum is at the base of a ski resort in the Sawtooth National Forest. So obviously they're skiing here, and it's an artsy place with charm. The best part about it is it's not Instagram famous yet, because you know what happens when a place becomes Instagram famous. There's some played out Chicago suburbs like Clarendon Hills that are a destination for families, but to get away from the drama completely, you can go all the way to Little Galena, which is practically in either Iowa or Wisconsin, depending on which direction you drive. Comparatively, for Illinois, there's a ton of outdoor stuff here, like hiking or playing in the river. Yes, there are places in Illinois where you can hike. Way out in the middle of nowhere, but still only 20 minutes from Bloomington, is the best town in Indiana, Nashville. It sits in a little hilly valley, and there's a really cool downtown area where soon everybody will know your name if you moved here. Brown County, where people spend all fall oohing and awing at leaves, is literally down the street. Mount Vernon and Winterset are great small towns in Iowa, but Pella has a Dutch-themed canal downtown with boutiques, butchers, and bakeries on its banks, and no other small town in Iowa can say that. And look what you pay for a home. Let's compare that to a house in Los Angeles. It's double in price, and it's half as safe. Actually, it's way less safe than that. Migo, Kansas is a small town halfway between Topeka and Manhattan. Here's a list of things they have here. The best rated park in the whole state of Kansas with a pond on it, a Wizard of Oz museum, a modern hospital. I guess it's hard to find modern hospitals in the middle of Kansas. And what many people have called a stupendous annual fireworks show. You could work in Louisville and then drive 30 minutes to a place in Bardstown, population 13,253. It's right along the Bluegrass Parkway. There's 6 distilleries in the area, making this the bourbon capital of the world. It's also been called America's most beautiful small town, and it boasts America's most beautiful town square, everyone. If you want to live in a slow-paced Louisiana town that has Creole-style homes and moss hanging from the trees, St. Francisville, a short drive north of Baton Rouge, is that. People call this town idyllic. It's also haunted. It was a close tie between Cape Elizabeth and Bar Harbor. Cape Elizabeth is way more expensive, but it's closer to Portland. Bah Harbor is on an island. Residents say great things about both of them. They both have lighthouses. You pick. St. Michael's is a tiny little town on Maryland's eastern shore, and it's on the banks of the Eastern Bay, which is part of the Chesapeake. While you can find crabs practically anywhere along the Maryland coast, there isn't another place in the state which was called the best small coastal town in the U.S. by USA Today. Locals are into kayaking, sailing, and skipjacking, which is a fancier way of saying sailing. For $1 million, you could live in Edgartown at the tip of Martha's Vineyard, but you don't have $1 million, so you'll have to settle for Little Provincetown, a community of about 3,000 people at the end of the Cape. If that's also not your jam, then, well, those are the 2 best towns in Massachusetts, what can I say? Everybody goes to Traverse City for their vacation, so you wouldn't want to live there. A lot of people visit Frankenmuth too, but you can learn to put up with that. The schools get awards for being so smart, and there's a crime bubble way out here in between the really sketchy communities of Saginaw and Flint. It also has a German-inspired Bavarian-style thing going for it. If you've ever been to Minnesota's North Shore, then you'd know it to be a quaint throwback to when American beach towns were still great. Along this North Shore are 1,359 people in Grand Marais who would like to meet you, especially if you like to boat, hike, look at art, drink beer, and drive into Canada. One of our largest small towns, but also our cheapest, Corinth, Mississippi is so cheap it could almost be a second home. Way out here on the Tennessee border, people call this the Mayberry of the South. This happens to be the home of musician Jimbo Mathis, who who may pick up a few Twitter followers now. However, not everybody's happy in Corinth. This person calls their own hometown a dirty, run-down town with a lot of drugs and no opportunity for a better life. This is a trap for people that are almost inbred because nobody wants to leave mommy and daddy or mama and papa. They also said it's a town stuck in a drug-infested, poverty-stricken time warp. Do you want a job? Richmond Heights is a suburb of St. Louis that is known for its public schools, its diversity and family-friendly atmosphere. Its proximity to St. Louis means it's close to the St. Louis Zoo and the Missouri Botanical Gardens and the St. Louis Aquarium, and shootings, lots and lots of shootings. If you aren't a wealthy liberal who skis, don't move to Whitefish. If you are a wealthy liberal who skis, this is for you. The downtown village area is so picture perfect that you wouldn't want to drive the 19 hours it would take to get to a major city. Yes, you can still buy a home for under $125,000 in a very safe small town. It's kind of tucked in the middle of a national grassland area in a national forest. The downtown area has a village-like feel with Wild's Bar and Grill, EJ's BBQ and Takeout, and a Dollar General. All the best places to live in Nevada are going to be close to Lake Tahoe. Incline Village is really expensive, and Genoa is too. Both are really cool places though. Virginia City is far less expensive, and it's halfway between Reno and Carson City. It's an old saloon town, so you'd have to really be into that, or you'd feel like an outsider, partner. Sorry, it just so happens that the best small town in New Hampshire is home to Dartmouth College, where you'd have a lot of wealthy liberal elitists. The next best small town in New Hampshire is Meredith, along Lake Winnipesaukee, where you can boat and fish and ice skate and leaf peep and snowmobile practically year-round. Cape May is an awesome seaside town with great beaches and really pretty homes. It's at the far tip of the Jersey Shore too, which is great because then you're as far away from the rest of the shore as you can get. But get in now because home prices shot up 11% last year alone. The best small town in New Mexico, Taos, might look like somewhere the king of the Indians once lived, but it's much more than just that. It's tucked into the hillsides way out in the middle of nowhere, and you could look at art or ski all day depending on the weather. Is it family friendly? Well, it depends on your family. You know what? This is a tourist town. Forget this one. Los Alamos is probably way better. Sadly, the best places to live in New York in terms of small towns are both really expensive. Shelter Island, way out on the tip of the Hamptons, which probably isn't what a person looking to move wants. Jericho is equally out of touch with most people in the market for a home. A small place called Pittsford, 15 minutes outside of Rochester, comes in with very high scores for affordability and safety though. There's a little place called Trent Woods, way up near New Bern in the far corner of the state. That would be a great place to settle down here in North Carolina. For one, you're right along one of the prettiest parts of the eastern seaboard. And according to this Trent Woods review, you can't go wrong with 2 Walmarts, a Target, a Harris Teeter, 3 Food Lions, 2 Piggly Wigglies, and a few mom and pop shops as well. Wow. And if you go there, just beware of the New Bern ghetto area I saw one time. It's just a random ghetto out in the middle of a really pretty quiet area. Garrison's on the banks of one of the largest man-made lakes in the country. It's also way out in the middle of nowhere, a place so small that there are no reviews. We should get one.
Hello?
Hey there, would you please review Garrison for me?
Stupid.
Rude. There's actually 3 best small towns in Ohio, and they all start with an M. Marietta, Marblehead, and Madeira. Madeira is a North Cincinnati suburb where the schools are great and it's really inexpensive. However, if you move there and go to downtown Cincinnati, do not get out of your car anywhere north of Central Parkway. I saw it once. It looks like Beirut. North Enid is a very nice place located north of Enid, which is way far north of Oklahoma City. It's safe, it has great schools, and it's a great place to raise kids, and it's really affordable. A perfect Oklahoma small town, everyone. Oregon has probably the prettiest coast in the country, so if you're going to live in a small town in Oregon, it should be along the coast. Depot Bay is probably the best place to watch whales on the entire coast, too. A cute little village offers views of the ocean, fun places to eat and shop, and a small town feel. Your kids will hate it. Also worth mentioning is Cannon Beach, about 2 hours north. It's just way more expensive up there. The northwest side of Philadelphia has the best places to live if you want the big city life. Chesterbrook is a fancy little town way out, far enough away from Philadelphia that you will eventually get tired of dealing with the Philly BS and just hunker down. No, really, seriously, it's a really safe place with smart kids. Barrington is a suburban town a 10-minute drive south of Providence. It's very welcoming, friendly, and has a strong sense of community. The schools are also nationally recognized, I'm guessing for good grades. Just about every small town along the South Carolina coast is really pretty and charming and safe too. Near Charleston's really expensive, but Beaufort, way down by the Georgia state line, is not really expensive. Boating and golfing are a big deal here. The historical downtown is totally southern with historic antebellum mansions all over, and Beaufort is also a port for river cruises. You'd be so proud of your downtown, you'd make it a destination more than once a week, I bet. $239,302 might seem very expensive for South Dakotans, but the rest of the country is looking at that number like, what am I doing wasting all my money to live in this little tiny box? Custer is a mountain town way out along the Wyoming border in the Black Hills. It's a type of place where the children grow up meeting kids at the local pool and where dad will get regularly overserved at the Dakota Cowboy. So if you hate tourists and don't want your town taken over for 6 months a year, don't move here. If you don't mind sharing perhaps one of the best mountain villages in the country with others, this place is terrific. You could even live along a mountainside on a windy street like this. Nearby is the entrance to the Smoky Mountains National Park, and also Pigeon Forge, which is pretty much Las Vegas in the middle of the mountains. You'd never get bored here. 30 minutes due west of Houston is Katy, Texas. And right next door to Katy is a master-planned community, census-designated townish place called Cisco Ranch. I had never heard of it before, but when I Googled it, I was very impressed by everything I saw. Back in 2010, there were only 139 people in Vineyard, Utah. Now there's 10,052 people here. Vineyard's right along the banks of Utah Lake and very close to Provo, Orem, and Salt Lake City. The new growth plan has been flawless, and the schools are as good as you can get in the state. For such a small state, there's a lot of teeny little places where you can still escape and live in a town that feels like you're hours from everyone. In Stowe, you're not that far away. I mean, Burlington's only 45 minutes west, but if you're into skiing and you have a decent income, this might be the best place in all of New England. Williamsburg is way out in eastern Virginia, maybe halfway between Richmond and Norfolk. It's very throwback to the colonial history of when Virginia was just a commonwealth. Or is Virginia still a commonwealth? Hey, but check this out. This small town has more than 100 reviews and hardly any bad ones. This guy says that homes are really nice, it's peaceful, and a bunch of old people live there. Perfect for a family. At the tip of the peninsula, with majestic views of the Puget Sound, is the quirky, artsy community of Port Townsend. It's very vegan hippie. If you're a conservative, you will not like it here. If that is your political leaning, choose somewhere like West Richland, way down south, where the real men roam. Homes down here are actually far more affordable too, at $375K, and they eat meat down there. The cute and quiet small town of Star City overlooks the Monongahela River, or the Mon as they call it. It's just north of Morgantown, so there's a lot to do, relative for West Virginians. And no, that doesn't just mean booby bars and semi-illegal gambling halls either. Imagine the kind of place where you can have an old-fashioned downtown. The kind of place with awesome festivals every season. Imagine the kind of place where friendly neighbors are like family. Imagine Cedarburg. Not brought to you by the Greater Cedarburg Chamber of Commerce and Visitors and Convention Bureau. Finally, we made it! Sorry if you're into Wyoming, you always have to wait till the very end of these. If you're trying to find a small town that's family-friendly and safe and affordable in Wyoming, the best place you can pick from is Buffalo, in the foothills of the Bighorn Mountains. Your sons and daughters will grow up with great schooling and will learn how to tie knots and chainsaw things. The kind of place where the elevation is higher than the population. Well, that's our rundown of the best small towns in every single state. Now, some of these are geared towards families more, and some of them are more geared towards retirees, and most are affordable, but all of these are safe and charming and far, far away from the ghetto, run-down places in this country. If you have the ability to work from home or you can decide where you can live, be like most people in America that are looking to get out of living in big cities and head for the hills, because right now there's a big shift in America, and we're moving away from big cities and going out in the suburbs and small towns, and that's a good thing. Song, anyone? Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns, where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Everyone here knows your name, maybe that's good or that's bad. Who knows? Where you can park your car, wherever. Where you can watch the man kill your cow. Where you can be a mayor and in charge. Where you might one day make some new friends. Small towns, because who wants drama? Small towns, where you won't get stuff robbed. Small towns aren't as big as a big place. Small towns are a great place to live. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great! You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also click one of these videos or playlists for more. You can also now buy my songs on iTunes and other formats. Click the link in the description. Thanks for watching. And remember, while we all might have different views, we should all be nice to each other and try to make the U.S. a better place in a positive way.
This is Sage, Nick's manager. This has been a Corner House Entertainment production.